Ancient strategy, modern sales, one usable line per episode.
Last time, don't build ladders too early. Today, how good deals die before the meeting, and why the real battle is already over before you walk in. I lost a deal last month. Big one, and it wasn't in the meeting. The meeting went fine. Good energy, good questions, good conversation. But the decision was already made before I got there.
How do you know?
Because they'd already talked internally, framed their own concerns, built a narrative I wasn't part of. By the time I presented, I was responding to conclusions I didn't shape. By the end of this episode, you'll know how to win the room before you walk in, and what most people skip that costs them the deal. My assumption was always, the meeting is where it happens. That's where you make the case. That's where decisions get made.
That's what most people believe.
And it makes sense. You prepare your slides, rehearse your pitch, walk in confident. But the outcome was often decided before I said a word. The meeting was a formality, and I didn't know which way it had already gone.
You were performing, not positioning.
What's the difference?
Performing is delivering your message in the room. Positioning is shaping the conditions so your message lands the way you need it to, before you arrive. Most deals don't die in the meeting. They die in the silence between conversations. Sun Tzu understood this. Fu Xian Chu Zan De Er Dai Di Zhe Yi. He who occupies the field of battle first and awaits the enemy is at ease.
Get there first.
Not physically, strategically. In the 9 situations, Sun Tzu describes a principle, Shan Duo Qi Suo I, Zai Ting Yi. Seize what they value most, then they will listen. Hold that image, we'll return to it.
So it's not about being first in the room. It's about being first in the conversation, shaping what they care about before the meeting starts.
The general who arrives first chooses the ground. The one who arrives second fights on someone else's terms.
In sales terms, if I don't shape the narrative before the meeting, someone else will.
Their internal champion, their skeptic, their finance team. Someone always frames the conversation before you get there. The question is whether you shaped that frame, or walked into someone else's.
So the deal isn't won in the room, it's won in the prep.
Always has been.
But what does prep actually mean here? I already research accounts. I review their website. I check LinkedIn.
That's information gathering. Useful, but it's not positioning. Let me show you the difference.
I'm listening.
There are 3 things that happen before any meeting, whether you control them or not. First, the prospect forms an internal narrative. They talk to colleagues. They discuss the problem. They begin to frame what they need, and what they don't. If you've been part of that conversation, your language is in their narrative. If you haven't, you're the outsider presenting to a story already written.
Second,
stakeholders rank priorities before you arrive. Budget, urgency, alternatives, all weighed privately. If you've helped them think through those priorities, your solution fits naturally. If you haven't, you're one option among many, and you don't know the criteria they're using.
And third,
risk perception solidifies. Before the meeting, someone in the room has already asked, what if this goes wrong? If you've addressed that concern in advance, it's handled. If you haven't, it sits in the room like an uninvited guest. And it votes against you silently.
So 3 invisible forces, narrative, priorities, and risk, all forming before I walk in. And if I haven't shaped any of them, I'm reacting in real time to decisions already half made.
You're presenting a case to a jury that's already deliberating. The solution is positioning, and it has 3 moves. Before any important meeting, run these 3. Move 1, seed the language. Have a conversation with your champion before the meeting. Not a pitch, a framing conversation. Help them articulate the problem using words that lead to your solution. When they repeat your framing internally, you're in the room before you arrive.
Move 2.
Map the stakeholders. Who's in the room? What does each person care about? Who's the skeptic? What's their objection likely to be? You don't need to meet them all, but you need to know what they're thinking. Your champion can tell you, if you ask the right questions.
And move 3.
Pre-solve the risk. Find the biggest concern, and address it before the meeting. Send a one-page summary. Share a case study. Answer the objection before it's raised. When the meeting starts, that risk is already diffused. You've removed the invisible obstacle. Now, the one line.
Let's hear it.
Win before the room.
The Sun Tzu principle, occupy the field first.
Before your next important meeting, ask yourself, have I seeded the language? Do I know the stakeholders? Have I pre-solved the risk? If not, the meeting isn't ready. You're not ready. Don't walk in and hope. Position first.
So it's not about what happens at the table.
The table is the result. The work happens before. Here's a question to test your positioning. Ask your champion, when this comes up in your internal discussion, how will you describe it?
You're checking whether your framing stuck.
If they describe it your way, you've won before the room. If they hesitate or use different language, you have more work to do.
And if I can't reach the champion beforehand?
Send a pre-meeting summary. Here's what I'm planning to cover, and the key question I'd like us to answer together. You're setting the agenda, framing the conversation before it starts. Even a short email positions you.
3 tools. Win before the room. Test your framing through your champion. And set the agenda before you arrive. All preparation, all invisible to the room.
Let's lock them in.
My takeaway. Deals don't die in the meeting. They die in the gaps before it. The narrative forms without you. Priorities get ranked without you. Risk perception hardens without you. Unless you position first.
Keep going.
Sun Tzu said, occupy the field first. Seize what they value, and they'll listen. In sales, the field is the internal conversation. If you shape it, the meeting is confirmation. If you don't, the meeting is an audition. 3 moves. Seed the language. Map the stakeholders. Pre-solve the risk.
Drill zone. Come back here before your next important meeting. You have a big meeting next week. Multiple stakeholders. High stakes. What do you tell yourself before you start preparing?
Win before the room.
Again, like the general who arrives first and chooses the ground.
Win before the room.
Good. Now the framing test.
When this comes up in your internal discussion, how will you describe it?
And the positioning move.
Here's what I'm planning to cover, and the key question I'd like us to answer together.
The sequence. Important meeting coming. First, win before the room. Second, test your framing through your champion. Third, set the agenda before you arrive. Don't walk in hoping, walk in knowing.
Seed, map, pre-solve.
This week's test. Pick one upcoming meeting. Run the 3 moves. Seed the language with your champion. Map who's in the room and what they care about. Pre-solve the biggest risk before you arrive.
And if I do all 3?
You'll walk in and feel the difference. The room is already with you. The decision was shaped before you sat down.
Which move should I try first?
Whichever fits your week. A. Win before the room. B. When this comes up internally, how will you describe it? Or C. Here's what I'm planning to cover. Drop your pick in the comments. I read every one.
What's next?
Why context decides outcomes, and how the same offer can win or lose depending on one invisible factor. Same calm tone, one usable line.
Ancient strategy, modern sales, one usable line per episode.